Welcome, fair people of YouTube. Today we are back at Twitter with some new spoilers or reveals as you may call them, and let's jump straight into it. Our first card will be Entangling Vines. It's a 1 mana bronze spell for Forestcraft exclusively that gives your enemy follower -10, -0 until end of the turn, and on chance 5 it destroys it instead. So Forest, every class has 5 mana kill a unit with additional effect card. Forest did not have that. Now we have Entangling Vines. It's basically, read it as 5 mana, destroy a follower. If you don't have enough mana, instead cast it for 1 and just give it -10 attack, right? Just reverse it. It's this exact spell. And is that card good? Well, you can read it in different way, like trade your board into enemy follower for free, or on 5 mana just destroy it. So either way, it's a spell that kills your opponent unit. It's made for killing opponent unit because the attack minus doesn't stay on your opponent turn. It ends on the end of your turn. So you cannot use it as single-use Forest of Dreams or something similar. It doesn't freeze your opponent minion. It just gives it -10 attack, so you can trade into it for free. And on 5 mana you don't even need to trade into it. This is a pretty solid card in Control Forest that simply doesn't exist right now. But if we see slower meta and decks like Tempo Forest or PTP Forest will be heavily countered, then we may actually see this card being played. Because look at the pure value. This card allows you to trade your weaker units into a strong unit without losing your units. You can also trade your big unit into big unit, but then you are simply getting 1 for 1, right? Anyway, you are getting 1 for 1 with this card, because it's not an AoE. And you also lose attacks, but you can get ahead on mana. That's basically the highest reason removal spells exist that trade 1 for 1. It's basically to get ahead on mana. If you kill Fafnir, that costed your opponent 9 mana, and you spend only 5 mana on that, you have 4 remaining mana to gain tempo. That's how card games work, and that's how you win in the card games. So, it's a pretty solid card, but how often do you play it over Dance of Death? As often as you are playing control deck that is having early board, so your Fairies and Ancient Elf. So I would say it's pretty good, actually, in control decks. As I said before, anyway. But let's give it a straight example. You are versus Heaven. You summoned your Ancient Elf. Your opponent summons a Tiger, let's say. He played Beastly Vow on turn 2, right? You play Elf on 3. Then it's their turn 4. They summon the Tiger. And if you want to trade your Elf into Tiger, your Elf, even after evolution, will always be banishable, right? Because unless you played triple 1-drop on turn 1 and 2. But if you played standard, so 1-drop, 2-drop Elf, if you evolve Elf, it will have 7 HP, you will trade it into Tiger, it will be left on 3, Priest of the Casual kills your Elf and wrecks you. If you have this card on turn 4, you may lower Tiger attack to 0 and trade into it for free. Priest of the Casual cannot touch your Elf, Blackened Scripture cannot touch your Elf, only Dance of Death that is not played in Elena, basically Elena they cannot catch your Elf. And they probably concede because your Elf will be evolved on the board, it can go face for 6, it will probably live another turn, it's your turn 5, so you may play your own removal, like for example Entangling Vines for 5, and go face with the Elf. Like Elena that concedes if you play 1-drop, 2-drop, Elf, Entangling Vines on a target, right? Unless they played something like I don't know, like a Bellringel and you didn't kill it. No, you always kill it because you played 1-drop and 2-drop. So they pretty much have no answer, except for maybe Snake Priestess. So we'll definitely see some changes in meta because of this card. If the meta goes control, it will not be the same as before Darkness Evolved. I really like this art, I really like this card, and I am giving it a solid, very solid, I would say 7 out of 10. Mostly because you need a board to make it work, but it's probably my favorite 5 mana destroy a card in the game right now. Well, some people will argue that Dance of Death is always better, but I disagree. I don't think that 2 damage phase matters that much in control meta. Like, if we have control meta, every deck will be playing healing, with no exception. So aggro decks will kind of fall. But it all depends on what minions do we get, and because the game is run by minions, and spells are here to compete with the minions, to counter them. But we have a very interesting defensive minion later in this video. For now, let's move on to the next card. In Arena, though, I have to say also about Arena in this card. It's fairly bad. Like, 5 mana destroy a card is pretty bad on Arena unless it gets solid additional effect. And I mean additional effect when you cast it on 5. Like, this card on early game sure gives you value, but you lose a card, right? Unless you can trade a really big follower into another big follower, because big followers like Bahamut or something are not that popular on Arena. I mean, they are popular, but they are not common. It's hard to draft them. So if you can kill your opponent Mammoth just because of Entangling Vines, it's great. But unless you target something as big as Mammoth, this card is not giving you enough value to be good on Arena. So usually you want to skip it on Arena. It's a bronze, you will see it often, but sometimes you wanna pick it. Not really in the Forest though. Like, Forest has already much better late game removals like Forest Giant or something, but Forest Giant is silver. It's a good substitution for like Forest Giant or Will of the Outlaw, but it's definitely not better than them. Our second card is Ghosthound Sexton. The art is pretty cool. You can count the hounds. As you can see, he has 1 fiery and 1 icy. And it's 2 mana 2/2 bronze follower for Shadowcraft. Fanfare: all other followers in play will be destroyed instead when being banished. All other allied followers that come into play will be destroyed instead when being banished. So it works like Banner, but counters Banish. And how good is that? This is, guys, crazy good. Like, Banish, like, your Mordecai cannot be banished anymore. Your opponent will have to kill it and then banish it again. If your Sexton is still on the board when your Mordecai dies, it will not be banished again. Like, how good is that? You play... Like, we see a lot of Death Rattle, or as you call it in this game, Last Words, support from side games right now. We have the card that we'll not talk about yet, and I'm not sure if she's in this video. I think she was not officially released yet, but the card is amazing, and you will see. That's a Shadowcraft legendary, basically, that summons 4 different costed Last Word units from your deck. Not Last Word, that summons just 4 differently costed minions from your deck and then kills them. So that's basically for Last Words minions, right? The Last Words will activate this way. You will gain 4 shadows and you will gain new resurrection targets. And that's one card supporting the Last Words archetype. The Ghosthound guarantees your Last Words value. Like, you play this 3 off in every deck that is dependent on Last Words. Like, this card is simply amazing. Its evolution effect doesn't change anything, except for giving you +4/+4. I mean +2/+2. And I don't really have much more to say about this card. On Arena you don't run into banishes that often, so I guess you don't really pick it on Arena, but it's still good on Arena because Shadow is struggling on Arena only in one direction. They have not so much of early game in their class, so it's pretty hard to draft good curve with Shadow on Arena. And this card is a 2 mana 2/2 that is good enough on Arena. Like, this is good card on Arena just because it's 2 mana 2/2. So I'm giving this card a very solid 9 out of 10. I don't want to give it 10 out of 10 because it's not broken. Like, it's not breaking the game. And that score is reserved for the cards breaking the game, like the Mahel that we saw in last video. Alright, let's move on. This card is fairly simple, but so good. Literally one of my favorite cards in this expansion. I will definitely play Last Word Shadow with this. Clark, Arcane Scholar. 3 mana 2/3 silver for Runecraft. Very standard, 3 mana 2/3 with effect. Fanfare: spell boost the follower in your hand 2 times. We saw that effect already on Craig. That was 2 mana 2/2 that spell boost follower in your hand 2 times. So you can play it as a let's say tempo Runecraft, Will something like that exist? When you play the Craig on 2, into Clelk on 3, into Runeblade Summoner on Curve. Like your Runeblade Summoner, if you played Insight on 1, your Runeblade Summoner is 4 mana 6/6. That wins Evolution War on its own. And it cannot be removed yet, right? Unless you are going second. And if you are going second, you can evolve it. Yeah, like, that is a lot of benefit, but... And also don't forget, you are getting 2-drop on Curve and 3-drop on Curve. So, yeah, even in Dimension Shift deck, if Dimension Shift stays with us as an archetype, but I think the Dimension Shift will be nerfed or changed in some way, the Clark and Craig will probably be played, and we will see the comeback of Runeblade Summoner. Why? Because we all expect and hope the control meta to come back after this expansion, or at least, you know, to achieve a balance between control and aggro decks. And Clerk and Craig support the Runeblade Summoner that is much better in control meta. Because control meta plays healing, control meta plays wards, and your Runeblade Summoner can one-shot your opponent from 20 to 0. The Flame Destroyers cannot do that unless you gather them all and have a D-Shift ready. But we don't know what D-Shift will be. Like, I assume that D-Shift will be changed. I don't think it will be nerfed. I think the effect will be changed. And if you change the effect, you cannot really evaluate cards with this current effect, because if I think that will be nerfed, I cannot compare to the current effect, because these cards will not exist together with the current effect of Spell Boost, in my opinion. Of D-Shift, I mean, not Spell Boost. So... I would give this card a solid 7 out of 10. Even though it's very simple, it's not game breaking, I think it's a very good card that will support the follower runecraft, the tempo runecraft. I really want to see tempo runecraft, and in tempo runecraft this card is probably played. We'll probably see some new spell boost follower that will support the tempo runecraft meta. And I don't know, guys, we'll simply see. This is just a guessing game. We will have to see for our own when we have entire list leak out. Our next card is Venya Bigger Brother, Veit, Vampire Noble. A Bloodcraft card, silver, 3 mana 3/2 with ward and Clash summon a Forest Bat. So I will repeat this again. Clash activates whenever this minion attacks a minion or whenever a minion attacks this minion. It has ward, so it will be attacked with a minion almost 100% of the time. It also is for 3 mana, so it fits before the Evolution Wars. If you are going first, that is. And... no, actually, if you are going second. If you are going first, your opponent will summon something, ignore this card, and on 4 will kill it with Evolution effect. So... 3 mana 3/2 is very standard stats, but this card has 2 effects on this cost, which is pretty solid. Like, you won't see a 3 mana 3/2 ward unless it's class card, and you won't see a 3 mana 3/2 clash and ward unless some games want to release it, it seems, right? And let's evaluate this card in our current environment. Well, you see a Forest Bat in a card, you immediately think Venya. Like, you see Venya Brother, you also think Venya. So... let's combine it with Venya. Like, you play Venya on 2. If Venya lives, and if you are going first, Venya usually lives unless it's removed by spell. You then play Veit, it protects the Venya. You can, if you play it later in the game, you can evolve Veit, trade for something. Also synergizes with Venya. I think this card is a must-have in every control deck. I mean, what? Not control deck. In every Forest Bat decks. If you want to play control Forest Bats, then go ahead. And what more can I say about this card? Not much, really. It just fits Forest Bat decks as they did not have wards before. You can play it in mid-range forest together, mid-range Forest Bat deck together with Queen Vampire. That gives you additional taunt. In control deck, you usually go for the Goblin Mount Demon, so it doesn't really synergize that well with it. It will just die from it. And you know, control forest bad decks always runs aggressive start like Venya, Summon Bloodkin, Ambling Raid, Razor Claw, Bloodwolf. It's all there in control vampire. You can rush people down with it. And what else? That would be it about this card, really. Alright, score. I would give it 7 out of 10 again. In both Constructed and Arena. It works pretty similar in Arena, right? In Arena you don't get that much of bad synergy, but I would say it's good enough. Tribunal of Good and Evil. It's 4 mana amulet for Heavencraft that will kill a random enemy follower, and then after 3 turns it will do it again. You can count down the card with like Hollow Dogma to make the effect faster. For example, exactly on turn after, so turn 5. So if it is good in Evolution Wars, right? Notice how it is costed exactly for Evolution Wars. Your opponent plays a 4-drop, you kill it with Tribunal of Good and Evil, they then play a 5-drop, evolve it, and you just count down the amulet. You gain tempo by not spending your evolution points and killing your opponent minions with evolution points. So I would say this card is very solid. I really like the art, and in Arena it's even better because you get 1 for 2, and that's what you want in Arena. But in Arena it's gold, so it's fairly hard to draft, and you probably don't pick it over Themis Decree. Maybe if you have a very good amulet-centric deck and you need a target for your healing prayers and Pinion Princes and stuff like that. Overall, a very solid card, not really a lot to talk about here, and I would give it a very solid 8 out of 10. It's not the best card in the set, it's not breaking the game, but it's very solid, definitely. Our next card is something that many people will say is bad, but I will explain you why you are wrong. Or at least try to. Draconic Fervor, 5 mana silver spell for Dragoncraft. Gain an empty play orb, draw 2 cards, and restore 3 defense to your leader. We seen something similar in every card game. There is always this ramp deck that plays something that will draw you cards, give you play points, give you health, give you like tokens, you know, just restock yourself with stuff, refill your health, refill your hand, and this card is doing that in Shadowverse. The gain an empty play point orb is not the most important part of this card, but it's still very good because it puts you in overflow turn after, and it also lets you to play the conflagration turn after, so you can come back on board, because you will get behind on board if you play this on curve. But draw 2 cards, amazing for late game, restore 3 defense to your leader, also good for late game. It's not a good counter to aggro decks, but it's amazing in control meta. It's simply unbeatable in control meta. You gain basically everything that matters in control meta. And what's the another upside of this card is that you can ramp to it. It's not literally your turn 5 spell, because if you play like the Dragon Oracle into another Dragon Oracle, you are at 6 mana on turn 4, you can play Draconic Fervor, you will be out on 8 mana on turn 5, you will be countering your opponent Otohime with Fafnir at this pace. If you got something different and you want to play the Dragon Oracle into Ayala, then you play Draconic Fervor, trade Ayala, you are in the same situation, and Draconic Fervor on 4 is a very good mana usage. You gain basically everything, and you will not lose that much of your defense because you heal for 3, and you will not lose that much tempo because you actually gain tempo by playing 7-drop on turn 5. Like, all you need in the deck is Conflagration. This is a 3-off in every controlled dragon deck, I call it, and I won't take a no as an answer. Like, you play it. You just play it, simply. I can't really say more about this card. I already covered everything. The health factor in this card is not really that, I would say, impactful, because health doesn't really matter as long as you are above 0. unless you are blood, right? Then you want your health to drop to 10. But the draw card and gain plenty empty player orb or play point is very impactful in control matchups. The health helps to cast this card in aggro matchups. In control you will sometimes even find yourself on full HP when you cast this spell, but you will still play it. If you want only the draw, if you are mid-range deck or aggro deck and you want only the draw, you always play Dragon Conceal over this card. But if you are control, you play Draconic Favor or Fervor. If you are ramp, you are playing control, unless you are playing like aggro ramp, but then you are not really a ramp deck. You are aggro that added some ramp to your deck, because why not? Alright, very solid 8 out of 10 in my opinion. And in Arena it's even better. In Arena it's probably 9 out of 10. It's only silver also in Arena, so you will get it pretty often. But you want to keep it for late game in Arena. You definitely don't want to cast it on curve. It's probably better to cast a 2-drop than this on curve. Our next card is a neutral legendary. I believe it's our first one in reveals. 7 mana 4/4. Fanfare, put a neutral follower from your hand into play, give it rush and return it to your hand at the end of your turn. So, it doesn't activate fanfares, it just puts the follower from your hand into play. So if you get Satan with that, you will not get the Satan deck. So sorry for shattering your dreams, but that's just how it is. Another point, if your minion dies, it will not return to your hand. Because it says return it to your hand, it doesn't say put into your hand. So it will not return to your hand if you kill it, but it's still a very powerful effect. How can we use this in Constructed? Well, first thing that comes into mind is Gilgamesh. You can storm face Gilgamesh on turn 7 with this card. Second usage is Lucifer, but something is not clear here. Basically, both effects happen at the end of your turn, so which will activate first? Shakiel, returning your Lucifer to your hand. Like, here we have asked if Shakiel, if the effect literally is coded as Shakiel returning a minion to your hand at the end of your turn, or is it given to a minion? Because if it's Shakiel that returns Lucifer to your hand, you will not get the heal, because Shakiel was here first. She from Farfar put Lucifer as a second card on the field. Shakiel will return your Lucifer first, and then Lucifer effect would activate but will not, because it's already in your hand. If Shakiel is giving the effect to Lucifer, then the card works this way, that you play Shakiel, put Lucifer into the field, and Shakiel is giving him the effect. Then Lucifer will first activate its originate effect, and then it will return to your hand, so you will get the heal. The wording is not clear here. We simply have no idea how this works. We probably could ask Cygames or just find out ourselves in play. Downside of this card though is that if you play more than one of it, you may accidentally put another Shakiel from your hand into your field. Like example with the White Wolf of Eldwood, it was blocked. You couldn't cycle Wolf into Wolf. On Shakiel though, you may accidentally put Shakiel with Shakiel, and then you get 7 mana, 4/4 rush, and 4/4 that you can evolve into 6/6 rush. Is this card defensive or aggressive? Well, that depends what do you want to put into field. If like I said before, you play Gilgamesh with it, let's say you play only Gilgamesh, you play Stormhaven, oh no, Stormhaven is bad example, but you play, what could you play that in? Aggro Dragon maybe? Like Midrange Dragon? Midrange Dragon could work. And you play Shakiel, you play Gilgamesh, and let's say to additional cover of the effect you play Unica. And you want to play your Unica in early, then you play Shakiel to storm your Gilgamesh on turn 7 into face, and then on turn 8 you play your Gilgamesh again. Is that better than simply playing Forte? Probably not. Because Forte on turn 7 is actually untargetable by minions. So we'll probably have to find some different deck or maybe different minion to combo it with. The opportunities are infinite, guys, or finite as much as the neutral cards. It may even be a low stats bronze that will be good with it because of last words or something like that. It may be ultimate carrot, guys. The opportunities are endless here. And it's up to you to figure out what works the best with it. You as the community. And you as a specific person who is watching this. Overall, I can't really, put a mark on this card, how good it is, because we simply don't know what neutral cards we'll be getting. Maybe we'll get something like 6 synergy with it, or something that activates whenever you return it to your hand. Something like that, but then only forest would play it, so it would be probably a forest card. Overall, I would say this is a huge potential as a card, so I would give it 8 out of 10. Oh, in Arena, you don't want it. You will usually get some local scrap and you will miss your legendary pick. Alright, our last card is Fangblade Slayer. It's the card I was talking about before, the defensive card that I really like. It's Officer for Swordcraft, gold card, 8 mana, 3/8 with Bane and Rush. Whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower, deal X damage to the enemy leader, X equals to this follower's attacks. So it's 8 mana, 3/8 with Bane and Rush. That probably trades for 2 minions at least. So great removal. In my opinion, power creep over the Charlotte. But not sure if it's actually better than Charlotte in every single case. But it's a power creep in my opinion. It's a definite power creep. Or, at least in trading, if you wanna go face, then you play Charlotte, but you don't wanna go face if you play 7 drops. Or even 8 drops. I believe Charlotte is 8 drop, but I might be wrong. Alright, so let's talk about this card. First of all, wording may be unclear to some of you. I actually was also not sure of this wording. I mean the last phrase, X equals to this follower attack. Some may think that it means that you will deal damage of the minion you attacked, right? Like the bigger minion you attack, the more damage you deal to your opponent face. But it's not how it works. It's actually the Fangblade Slayer attack that matters. Mostly because whenever this follower attacks, and then it's another equals to this follower minions. My English is not perfect, so I actually thought I wasn't sure about this effect, but then kind people in our Discord server actually explained it to me. So props to them, and thank you. Now, how good is this card? As I said before, you always get 2 for 1 with this card, unless you charge into Fafnir, I don't know. No, even Fafnir is only... No, Fafnir is 9 attack. No, Fafnir is 8, it's still enough. Yeah, my brain is malfunctioning, it seems. But you can kill it, Fafnir with it, that is not too bad of an answer, but you are usually better off just casting Dance of Death on it. You can kill infinite amount of smaller minions though, and your opponent has to kill the Fangblade Slayer, because it's literally trampling into their face. It trades, but it deals damage to the face, so it basically has both Rush and Storm. You rush it into minion, you also Storm into face. The only downside of this card is that it's 8 mana, but the effect is so powerful that it couldn't be less mana even if you reduced its stats. Right? Because it has Bane. Bane minions tend to be more expensive, except for Shadow, and I would say some sword cards, looking at you, Ratless Assassin. But this effect is definitely powerful enough for an 8-drop, because it gives you immediate kill on a unit, and after that you are left with a body, all in one card. Like, follower with Rush and Bane is much better than direct removal like Dance of Death. That's why this card is more expensive. But will it be played in every deck? No, definitely. There are aggro decks that caps at 6 mana with Otohime and Sage Commander, and they will definitely not play Fangblade. The only deck, to be honest, that will play this card is the Grinder Sword. And Grinder Sword is already stacked with late game, so I'm not sure if they find a place for it. Probably they will. Like, you can swap, some play Leonidas, some play Olivia. I guess those cards are fine to swap for Fangblade. Because you play Olivia in your deck, to get immediate impact in late game. You are out of evolution points, you don't play many Stormers, you don't have good removal spells, so you play Olivia and use your late game powerful minions to evolve them and trade for something, right? This is your immediate impact on the game. You may switch Olivia for Fangblade, and this is definitely viable strategy for deck building. Alright, that would cover basically all the cards we have. We don't have any more cards. All the next cards are from our previous video. So I hope we'll see some more spoilers soon. I will keep you updated, guys. But I will wait until we have, you know, several cards, like 5 or more. So my video will not be 5 minutes long. I don't wanna cover every single card in single video. Hope you liked this evaluation. We'll end the video here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check out my Twitch channel, you can find the link down in the description. If you have any further question, it would be best to address me there. Peace out.